Are you out there doing your best to get on with life? Because, as you already know, it's what you make of your life that really counts. And sometimes having a few shortcuts to help you on your way can be very useful. The NLP Matters Podcast might just be the toolbox you need to focus your attention, your effort, your drive onto what really does make the difference. Built on the foundation of Neuro-Linguistic programming, the NLP Matters Podcast offers proven recipes you can use to create and sustain your life your way.
G'day, and welcome to the NLP Matters Podcast. I'm your host, Jo Clark, and it's really great to be back today. We're going to move on from our previous podcast episodes where we focused on the be, do, have model, the three vital keys we need to include as we strive towards building the success and outcomes we want to achieve in our lives. And with the continued extreme uncertainty we face in this 2020 world, with the COVID-19 pandemic continuing, I think it's timely to focus on another fundamental model that provides powerful insight into why people do what they do. And this model is the 6 core needs model. We know there are lots of unusual behaviours that we can observe in our communities now. Things like people hoarding particular grocery items, or perhaps on a more domestic front, people might be a bit more grumpy than normal, or perhaps a bit more lethargic than normal. Some people may even be a bit more energetic than normal. So we're noticing that people's behaviours are changing in this environment where in Australia we are going through level 2 social isolation, which means we can only really leave home for something that's absolutely essential. So when we notice these behaviours, we start to get curious about why are people doing what they're doing? For example, stockpiling the groceries or behaving in some odd way. And even when there's no pandemic on, sometimes we look at our own behaviour and perhaps we can struggle to understand why we continue to do certain behaviours that we know won't achieve the goals that we want to have. For example, people who want to get fit. And when the alarm goes off in the morning, they're not bouncing out of bed to do the exercise regime, rather they're rolling over and hitting snooze. Yet just maybe 24 hours before, they made a commitment to themselves that they were going to go and really address their personal well-being and fitness. These are the types of behaviours where we would be looking at how are the 6 core needs playing a part in thwarting us in achieving our goals. Similarly, for others, we may find that they're very good at meeting their goals. And again, you'd want to be curious about how are the 6 core needs playing out in the unconscious mind, supporting them in achieving those goals, because we might want to actually model from them and do a bit of that, hey? What we're looking at is their basic 6 human needs. This model was developed by Tony Robbins, who you might have heard a little bit about, I think. And Tony said, we all have the same 6 needs, but how we value those needs and in what order we have them largely determines the direction of our life. I particularly like this model because it's simple and it provides a clear structure that reveals one of the most profound unconscious driving forces to human behaviour. As we begin to understand the 6 basic core human needs, we see not only why people do what we do, but also we're able to identify which needs are driving you specifically. Once you've identified which of the human needs have been driving you and your decision making and your behaviour, you can then make a choice if this is the way you want to continue to meet these needs, or perhaps you can discover new ways to meet the needs that are more aligned with the outcomes you want to have in your life. One thing we know for sure from this model, if there is a conflict between a person's goals and dreams and the capacity to meet their core needs, it will be the goals and dreams that get sacrificed. The needs must be met. So what specifically are these needs that we talk about driving human behaviour? Well, the first is certainty. The next is uncertainty or variety. Then we have significance and love and connection. These first four needs are often referred to as personality needs, whilst the final two needs are higher order needs or spiritual needs, and they are growth and contribution. Contribution is where we are giving beyond ourselves, perhaps to the greater good. And growth is where we're stepping outside of our boundaries or outside of our zone of knowledge and moving into what we don't know. Growth and contribution are needs that fulfill us at a very deep level, and that's sometimes why they're called higher order needs. Specifically, when we look at something like certainty, there we're looking at meeting our needs for safety, security, comfort, and behaviours that we do to avoid pain or discomfort and gain pleasure. The need for uncertainty or variety is where we meet the need for change or new stimuli, where we seek adventure and challenges, and we're venturing into the unknown. Significance is a need that we meet to feel important. It's where we feel special and needed, or perhaps wanted and worthy. Connection or love is where we're meeting that need by having a strong feeling of closeness or connection with someone or something. Self-love and self-connection are also an important aspect of this core need. Growth is where we're expanding either our capacities, capabilities, understanding. Emotional growth also falls in here, or perhaps we're acquiring new skills. These are some of the ways we choose to meet this core need. Contribution is where we have a sense of service and focus on helping, giving to, and supporting others. So that's a brief summary of the types of things we might be doing in order to meet our core needs, or what the core needs actually involve. Now, when we're looking at behaviour and behaviour that meets those core needs, we have a choice. We can either meet the needs resourcefully or unresourcefully. What that means is when we're meeting our needs resourcefully, we're doing it in a way that aligns with our core values and moves us closer towards having the type of life we want to have. When we're meeting our needs unresourcefully, we may be meeting those needs at the cost of other things in our lives, other important things in our lives, like relationships or achieving goals or the success we want to have. We may also be meeting our needs unresourcefully if the way we're choosing to meet them doesn't serve our health and well-being, or perhaps it's not a sustainable way to meet the needs. As I said before, the top four needs in the list shape our personality, while the last two, growth and contribution, shape our deeper needs, perhaps spiritual needs. The means by which we choose to meet our 6 human needs are unlimited. We can choose a whole variety of ways to meet the needs, whether it be from the routines we establish in our daily lives all the way through to the types of learning and development we choose to do. Is it something that takes us outside of our comfort zone, or is it something more within the comfort zone, like utilising talents and skills you already have? For example, when I chose to become a pilot and went and learned how to fly light planes, I was definitely meeting my need for variety there and also my need for growth. So I was able to meet a whole lot of needs by choosing that pathway. But the means by which we choose to meet our 6 human needs are unlimited. We can seek fulfillment through our relationships, careers, personal interests, and more. Knowing which needs are your top 2 will give you deep insight into the key drivers of your behaviours. it gives you a simple way to really understand why you do what you do. Now, many of our behaviours are actually based on trying to meet the needs which are currently not being met. So, for example, in the current environment, people's odd behaviour, stockpiling toilet paper, or perhaps filming people stockpiling toilet paper, are ways that they're using to try and meet their highest core needs. In the former, I suspect it might be the need for certainty. And in terms of videoing people stockpiling toilet paper, I think they might be meeting their need for significance, because then they get to post that video on Facebook and look like they're doing something for the greater good, when in fact it's really one way that they've chosen to meet their need for significance and get acknowledgement and feedback from the broader community on social media, saying, yes, you're right, and that person's bad and wrong, and you should do this with your video, and etc., etc. So depending on which of the basic human needs are your highest priority, and potentially the ones that aren't being met, you could be spending a lot of time unconsciously just trying to meet one or two of them. And if you're not succeeding in meeting these core needs, this will no doubt have a significant impact on your overall sense of well-being and perhaps even the quality of your life. Knowing which of your 6 core needs is your primary motivator and how this affects your ability to manage your life, establish and maintain healthy relationships with others, and even establish and maintain a healthy relationship with yourself, is crucial to understanding what drives you. It can also help you better understand and manage your own behaviour so that you get to be in charge of your own emotions and the quality of your life. According to Tony Robbins, pretty much all dysfunctional behaviours arise from our inability to resourcefully meet these 6 basic human needs. But you don't have to meet the needs unresourcefully. If you understand what your own needs are, then you can identify your driving force. You can then set goals for yourself and make positive behaviour changes that will align with achieving those goals. In other words, you can meet your core needs resourcefully rather than unresourcefully. When you understand these needs and which ones you're trying to meet moment to moment each day, you can make different choices and you can create new patterns of behaviour that will lead you to lasting fulfilment. Join me over the next 4 episodes as we continue to explore the 6 core needs. And through this new knowledge, you can harness one of the most powerful drivers of human behaviour to meet your needs and achieve the outcomes you want to have in your life. In our next episode, we'll focus on the first 2 core needs: certainty, perhaps the most basic human need to feel safe and secure, and in contrast, our need for uncertainty or variety, the spice of life, or perhaps the chaos. Stay awesome, and I look forward to connecting with you in the next episode.
Wow, thanks for showing up and listening in. We would love to hear from you. Send your thoughts, ideas, or questions via email to joanne@destinypursuit.com.au. Now it's time to take today's recipe out into your own life. Notice the differences that show up as you apply it. We'd love to hear how you are progressing with your new approach.